It's the 1950s. The Cold War is in full swing, and the USA and USSR are locked in the ultimate stare-down. But why stop at threatening each other on Earth? Let's take the battle to space, because what's cooler than proving dominance over gravity? Welcome to the space race, where the stakes are high, the budgets are higher, and mission control is holding its breath at every launch. October 4th, 1957, was the day the world looked up and panicked. The Soviet Union had just launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, into orbit. It was a small, shiny metal sphere, just 23 inches wide, with four skinny antennae sticking out like the legs of a robotic spider. And while all it did was beep as it circled Earth, its impact was monumental. For Americans, this wasn't just a scientific achievement. It was a wake-up call. If the Soviets could launch a satellite into space, what else could they do? Spy on us? Drop bombs from orbit? Beam mysterious signals into our radios? The paranoia was real, and the term Sputnik crisis was born. Meanwhile, for the Soviets, Sputnik was a source of immense pride and a symbol of their technological prowess, a clear signal to the world that they were leading the race to space. The US saw this metal beach ball as a threat, but for the Soviets, it was a victory lap. They just won round one of the space race. America wasn't about to sit this one out. In 1958, they launched NASA, an organization so cool, it even made science look patriotic. NASA wasn't just about rockets, it was about catching up. Meanwhile, the Soviets kept stacking up first. They sent a dog, Laika, into orbit. The US responded by testing space food, snacks over spacewalks, right? 1961, the USSR sent Yuri Gagarin into orbit, officially making him the first human in space. This guy was a legend. He completed an orbit of Earth, radioed back, and became the first person to think, so this is what zero gravity feels like. It was a massive win for the Soviets. The US, they were still figuring out how to make space pudding taste edible. 1962, JFK declared, "We choose to go to the moon." Translation, "We're tired of losing and the moon looks cool." NASA took this as a green light to go all in. After years of meticulous planning, relentless innovation, and yes, a few fiery explosions, the United States was finally ready to make history. In 1969, the world watched as Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins embarked on the Apollo 11 mission. A daring journey that culminated in humanity's first steps on the moon.
Boosting the Apollo 12 crew off Launch Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center, Saturn V, 3,000 tons of fuel, electronics, and sophisticated rocketry. The Saturn V is unequaled in power. The only major piece of hardware to travel round trip to the moon is the command module. It houses the men and their earthly requirements against the hostilities of space. The lunar module, a combination braking rocket and launch pad, half for landing, half for taking off. Inside, buttons, switches, computers, and controllers.
Armstrong's now iconic words, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," became the ultimate mic drop moment, symbolizing not just America's triumph in the space race, but a new era of human exploration. While the moon landing marked a clear victory for the US, the Soviets weren't quite ready to throw in the towel. They turned their focus to unmanned missions, successfully landing probes on the lunar surface. They set their sights even farther, Mars, Venus, and beyond. Their probes were out there, snapping photos and gathering data like overachieving interstellar tourists, and continuing to push the boundaries of space exploration. Sure, they acted like they didn't care about losing the race to the moon, but make no mistake, they cared. Despite never sending humans to the moon, the USSR's groundbreaking contributions, from early satellites to the first human in space, laid the foundation for the space programs we know today. In the end, both superpowers reshaped the future of science and exploration forever. So who really won the space race? Technically, the US, but in reality, humanity won big time. Satellites, GPS, and even memory foam mattresses, all thanks to space exploration. The space race wasn't just a rivalry, It was a leap for all mankind. The space race wasn't just about reaching the stars. It was about redefining what humanity could achieve when ambition meets innovation. Thanks for watching. And if you're curious about more incredible stories from history and beyond, don't forget to subscribe to Felix. Now here's a question to spark your imagination. What's the next great space milestone you'd love to see in your lifetime? Let us know in the comments.